Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the respected dignitaries, distinguished speakers, honorable participants, and the loving audience, all beautiful people present here from all around the globe. I, Ms. Nada Ratkovic, IIU board member, country director, IIU Croatia, the president of Research Center IIU, welcome you all to the second International Sustainable Development Goal Conference, ISDGC 2022, for the ISDGC leaders on the day 4 on the topic quality education. Yes, we all know that we need to meet the needs, and that is the development, that is the sustainable development, and the present without no compromising the abilities of future generations to meet their own needs. So that is the topic of our 12 days conference, Living Sustainability, Transforming the World, Social, Environment, Economic Equality. 17 SDGs, 12 days, 50 countries, 100 plus global SDG experts. People, prosperity, planet, peace, partnership. You see, 5P. And day 4. IIU has the solution. We have the solutions here, right now. And we are recognizing the global call for all the solidarity, for the science, for the solutions, for the all. And the ball is now in our court. And there is a lot we can, and we must, and we are doing. And that is for all our world, what we are doing each day. So it's my honor to present today our great organizer. International Internship University, IIU, is a leading virtual education system, a global brand confederation, which is the most valuable and trusted worldwide and well-reputed in delivering innovative programs globally. It is a trusted name for quality training programs and is committed to provide better and virtual education to the all young learners of the globe. IIU is metamorphosing the conventional education system by cutting down the additional costs, providing access to more than 1,000 plus courses, internships to their e-learners across the globe with the help of its 1,000 plus global educators. In a short span of time, IIU has spread its wing in 195 countries and 6 continents under the strong leadership of its visionary founder, Mr. Piyush Pandit Sir, a committed and inspiring social activist, a passionate educationist from the last 2 decades, providing education to students from various social and cultural backgrounds. IIU has formed its 4 councils, namely Women Entrepreneurs Council, International Student Development Council, International Youth Development Council, International Council of Educators. And the main objective behind these councils is to provide support in every respect to the students, to the youth, to the women entrepreneurs, to the educators, to the scientists, to the researchers, and all. IIU is coming every day, like today, like even before, with new events, with education, with projects, and you are all invited to be a part of it. So be the change with IIU. Me, Professor Nada Ratkovic, as a president of IIU Research Center, is thinking if you have ever thought about how would be the world without education, research, science, innovation, technology, or any development of anything, then IIU is the right place for you. So think about that. IIU is bringing in each second a change. We are bringing a revolution in education, and not only education, everywhere. A big, big revolution. So plan activities with IIU. Do it with a great worldwide researchers and educators. And make always a review with us, because today you are also on the Facebook, our great dignitaries, our participants watching. Please left your review for us, because we want always to be better. We are great, but always we want to be better. So I will not talk a lot about this today's sustainable development goal for the quality education. I am an educator. I am proud to be an educator. That is the most humanitarian job on the world. Yes, I like my students. I like each one student. I gave 100% of me to my students, because they are our future. If you don't get to your students the knowledge, the skills, what they need for today and 21st skills, digital education, not only the few. So the subject, what you teach, is not only the thing you need to give to your students. You need to give them all. You need to learn them to be humanitarian, to be a social activist, to volunteer, to donate. And each thing today is very important. And you need to build a strong person who is going tomorrow to be maybe like you and another educator. So I am talking about the students, because this first day of the quality education, it will be divided in 3 parts. Part 1 today, we will start this conference with amazing students. So let's start with our first speaker, first student. Our first student is Carl Steven Mangahas. He's coming from a beautiful country, Philippines. I'm really honored, and they have a great teacher. They have a great teacher, Sir Derry Dakanai, who is he's our deputy director of IIU Philippines. That educator is giving his maximum for the students. His students are amazing. So today we are really privileged that we have this amazing students on the first day of the SDG 4. So welcome, dear Carl Steven Mangaris, on the IIU stage. Welcome to this great conference. We are really honored to have you and to hear you. You know, before the first days, were my students here on the IIU stage. We were listening their experiences on the no poverty, on the zero hunger, and also we will have them in more days, but today we are starting with education, and welcome. You can unmute yourself and you can share your presentation, because I make it great.
Is the presentation seen already?
It is. Can you put a full screen?
Oh, okay. No, I can do
Okay,
that.
yes. You make it in Canva. I like it. I like all presentations when we make in Canva. Great. Excellent.
Is
Excellent.
everything okay?
Yes.
Okay. So, scholars, professors, guests, moderators, and everyone present in the Zoom meeting, a pleasant day to all of you. I am Carl Mangahas, a student from St. Patrick's School of Quezon City in the Philippines, presenting my chosen sustainable development goal, which is quality education. Before I start with my presentation, I would like to thank the International Internship University for giving me the chance to present and share my thoughts in front of lots of respected individuals. I would also like to express my gratitude to Professor Nada Ratkovic. It is a pleasure to be presenting here again. So allow me to start my presentation of my SDG with a quote from Albert Einstein. Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think. the SDG. Quality education is fundamental to sustainable development. Education is one of the most powerful tools by which people can lift themselves out of poverty and fully participate in their communities. When we say education, it is not about books and acquire knowledge. It is more than that. The bottom line in education is learning, acquiring new skills, which allow students to be versatile, to adapt, and to meet the needs of the ever-changing world. So we all know that each SDG has targets, and one that caught my attention is the target 4.6, which tackles literacy and numeracy. But we will focus on literacy in this presentation. Literacy is the ability to identify, understand, interpret, create, communicate, and compute using printed and written materials associated with varying contexts. Meanwhile, when we say numeracy, it refers to skills or the ability to use, interpret, and communicate mathematical information to solve real-world problems. These two elements are vital to quality education, especially the literacy. Helping someone to read and write effectively or acquire the basic math skills so many of us take for granted improves the future of everyone in society. Students need literacy in order to engage with the written word in everyday life. Think of how often you use your own reading skills in everyday life. It's not just about articles like this one. It requires literacy. Signs, labels, and the messages on your phone requires it too. The same goes for writing. Nowadays, even phone calls have given way to instant messaging and text-based communication, making the ability to read all the more important. Literacy is also critical to economic development as well as individual and community well-being. Based on a report by United Nations, Philippines has the highest literacy rate at 97.95% among Southeast Asian countries in 2019. However, in a global survey conducted by Program for International Student Assessment released on the same year, I think it is 2018, Filipino students ranked last in terms of reading comprehension. Also, 51% of Filipinos find it difficult to spot fake news on media, according to an SWS survey conducted last December 12 to 16 in 2021. So, what does these numbers imply? It is not enough that we are only able to do things. We should also be able to understand it. Interpreting is important in terms of everything that we read, how we think, and how we gain valuable knowledge. If we are able to read between the lines, then we could be able to extract the true meaning of the text. We could be able to evaluate it and learn more from it. Just in the Philippines, numbers like this show the importance of another factor, reading comprehension. We also would like to emphasize the importance of literacy, especially in media and information. It should be taught at a very young age as it makes students good observers, critical thinkers, and evaluators of information that are seen. So, with that being said, I would like to focus on three steps in order to attain quality education and also to address the problems of literacy, especially in my country, Philippines. So first of all, we should focus on students' learning styles. So we all know that students have different learning styles. We have the visual, we have the auditory, and many more learning styles. If we get to focus and take a look on their learning styles where they're more confident or the most suitable way for them to learn, then we would be able to show them things and let them know what they need to know. Second of all, make learning interactive. So I do think that we should not stick on the traditional method, the um, writing the chalk in the blackboard and the PowerPoint presentations. We should add a little spice to learning. We should be able to include everyone. We all know that in the traditional method, where a teacher calls on students to answer questions, to recite, not everyone gets to be included. The ones who are knowledgeable and the ones who are active in participating only gets the chance to be able to express their thoughts. But when we make learning interactive, we get to let everyone enjoy the learning experience. And then lastly, which I said earlier, the teach with less traditional methods. I think we should not stick on the ones that we use probably 20 or 50 years ago. I think that as time passes by, we have the technology, we have other methods, we learn more. I think that we should be able to adapt and follow the trends in terms of learning, in terms of the interests of students. How can we make learning more engaging and more interesting to them? So we head on to my personal insights for this SDG. So first, I do think that teachers need to be professionally equipped with competencies. So what do I mean with this? So I do think that they need to be prepared professionally because we all know that the COVID situation is very hard, not just for the students, not just for the workers, but for everyone. When teachers are able to be equipped with competencies, they could be able to help students towards the transition to the post-COVID situation, because here in our country, we're already having the hybrid setup wherein we have the excuse me. Okay, so thank you. So wherein we have um days of face-to-face classes and other days of online classes. So when teachers are able to be understanding, when they're able to be more equipped, then they would be able to meet the needs of the students. So next, teachers need to be sensitive in terms of the needs of the students. So I think the needs of the students right now is, the usual one is the materials like the books, the notebooks. But I do think that we should give more than that. We should give motivation. We should be able to give students a boost. I do think that being critical or being too harsh with our words takes a toll in terms of the motivation of the students. So when we are sensitive in terms of the needs of them, in terms of what they feel, then we could be able to help them better. We could be able to communicate with them better. The pandemic affected education worldwide. So with this third point, I think we all know that pandemic not only affected education but everything, the way we live, the way we do things. And with everything and with the pandemic occurring, the only choice is to be flexible, to adapt. So as for my conclusion, quality in education is what makes learning a pleasure and a joy. In learning, we're supposed to enjoy the process and have fun. Although the path has lots of obstacles and hurdles, that doesn't mean that we will let those get in our way. The road to achieving quality education is indeed hard, but we should give our efforts to address the problems. Life itself is already hard, and we shouldn't make things more difficult and complicated to deal with. Let us all work together on making things easier for the rest of us. So that was it for my presentation, and I thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you. An amazing presentation, an amazing student. I like it. This is for us very important because our students show us the way how to work, how to act. The starting with the thank you for the vote of thanks. When you start with this amazing quote, but the education is not learning the facts, it is a training of the mind. That is for me very important because I see that here, especially when you talk about education in the Philippines, this number show what the statistics 98%, the 19 what you say 51% about the literacy and comprehension, and your call to action. It is an amazing call to action. All need to focus on students' learning styles. That is great. Make learning interactive. If you don't make learning today interactive, you are a boring person. Who will listen you? First, me. I will never listen someone who will who will only talk and not be interactive, no using digital tools, no using gamification, and teach with less traditional methods. That is that. Today, no traditional methods. Yes, percentage, very small percentage. Amazing. Great. I'm really honored to have this great students. They have amazing insights. What your personal insight when you said a teacher need to be professional, equipped with the competences? Yes. How can we educate students if we don't have that competences? Then you say that the pandemic affected education worldwide. It is true. We all know that this situation with pandemic make a big effect on the education. Also, teacher need to be sensitive in the terms of the needs of the students. We need to know what our students need. If we are talking about the students, we can mention it is not the same way to work with the students with the disabilities and with the gifted students. Each one student today need to have a personalization. That is your personal insight. That is amazing when a student gave us actions, what we need to do. Then with everything, the only choice is to be flexible and that. I think that in each 1 second we really need to be flexible. We can have a best lesson in our head, but if we see the situation in our classroom, if we see that student, especially I have the numeric, the numbers, my subjects are not easy subjects, and when I see that my student is looking to me very on a very strange way, I know that I need to repeat. I need to know that I need to have more exercises. So, this conclusion of our great students from Philippines is amazing. He took this quality in education is what makes learning a pleasure and joy. Yes, our learning today needs to be a pleasure and joy. We need to all love our work, because if you don't like what you do, there will be no results, no results. A big, 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 big clap to our amazing first student, our first speaker. We are still in the beautiful country of Philippines. We are calling our next guest, our next student, uh, Diwar Gabriel O. Castillo. I apologize if I don't read it correct, but I try. Welcome. Welcome. Great.
Good day, ma'am.
Good evening.
Am I going to start now, ma'am?
Yes, you are.
Thank you, ma'am. Good day. Today we're going to talk about SDG 4, Quality Education. I am your speaker, Dwayne Gabriel Castillo, from St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Philippines. First, I'd like to acknowledge Professor Nada Ratkovic and Sir Piyush Pandit and all of the people who are watching and present here. Also my school, St. Patrick's School of Quezon City. First, what is SDG number 4? Sustainable Development Goal 4 is about quality education and is among the 17 Sustainable Development Goals established by the United Nations in September 2015. The full title of SDG number 4 is Ensure Inclusive and Equitable Quality Education and Promote Lifelong Learning Opportunities for All. So today, we are going to tackle about ways to improve education in the Philippines. We all know how hard it is not just to learn, but also to provide quality education for the students. Next, we have our goals. First goal, to know what should be provided for better education. We should have ideas. What are the things we may provide to have better education? Second goal, to know what actions we are going to make in order for us to have quality education. This thing is not just for the teachers, but also for the students, because I believe that what we do is what we are. And the last goal is provide equal access to enhance each student. When discussing jobs, physical attributes, or even in school, genders are never taken into consideration. We ought to treat everyone equally. So now, we are going to tackle about the ways to improve education in the Philippines, starting improve and construct educational facilities that provide secure, nonviolent, inclusive, and productive learning environments for all children, people with disabilities, and people of all genders. Children may also get excited when they are going to school, when they know that their school has a safe environment. Also, having new experiences, not just for the students, but also for the teachers, so they would be more comfortable to teach and provide quality education to their students. As a student, I'd like to see an improved and well-maintained educational facilities, so as my learning experience of students will be more fun and more exciting. I am hoping that our government, our school, and the community will work hand in hand to improve the educational facilities in the Philippines. Next, we have equal access. All people should have access to educational resources, regardless of their talents or interests, so that we can learn or study what we want to. Whatever we are, we should act in accordance with our values, even though some may not think we are suitable for it. As a student, I felt inequality during the pandemic because some of my classmates did not have stable internet connection. Some of them have difficulty looking for resources in the different subjects that they hold. Further, many of the young Filipinos are still experiencing inequality in terms of education. Therefore, equality to education is essential in achieving the SDG number 4. Next, we have eliminating disparities. Regardless of their gender, they should have equitable access to all levels of training and education. Also, including individuals with impairments, native peoples, and young children in danger. We should always eliminate disparities. We are diverse. We should be mindful about the things that is happening today. Let's make it a better place despite our differences. As a student, I believe that all educational institutions should be learner-centered. To be learner-centered means to learn. L, which means learn continuously. E, evaluate learning experiences. A, advances learning through research. R, respects diversity. And N, nurtures development. Again, to be learner-centered means to learn. Next, we have increasing number of youths and adults. Significantly raised the proportion of young people and adults with skills necessary for employment, good jobs, and entrepreneurship, including technical and vocational skills. As much as possible, we should discover each other's abilities and talents so that we may develop them in time. I know that all of us have their right time to know what they can do, but by the help of people around us, we will have a much more easier time to discover them. According to the World Economic Forum 2015, 21st century skills needs the following. First, foundational literacies. These are subjects being taken in school, which should be given importance, like literacy, numeracy, scientific literacy, ICT, financial literacy, and cultural literacy. Next, we have competencies. When I say competencies, these are approaches to complex challenges such as critical thinking, creativity, communication, and most importantly, collaboration. The last important 21st century are character qualities. These are approaches needed in a changing environment such as curiosity, initiative, persistence, adaptability, leadership, social and cultural awareness. Lastly, we have complete free education. Make sure that every boy and girl receives a primary and secondary education that is free, equitable, and of high quality. We should provide students not just free education, but we should also offer them high quality service. They are the future, and as much as they do not require to pay something for their education, I believe they could make it much simpler, including for the parents who will not consider paying because they are aware of the benefits education provides. Also, according to Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. So why not provide free education to children so they can become something in the future? As a student, I'd like to see quality education regardless of whether a student is enrolled to a public or a private school. Quality education means providing the highest quality standards for students in an ever-changing world. Conclusion. To conclude, SDG number 4 for me as a student would mean the following. First, do I need to be more resilient and innovative for the future of the education in my country? Second, as a student, I will strive for excellence in helping my school, my community, and my country in achieving in the standards of education. And lastly, as a student, I am doing this for my co-students who are longing for quality education. I much appreciate your interest and attention. I am grateful beyond words for the chance I've been given to speak to you. This ends my presentation. Thanks for listening.
Big, 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 big clap. Thank you. Thank you, great Castillo. Yes, after our great first student, now you. You show us the ways how to improve education in the Philippines and not only on the Philippines. St. Patrick's School is amazing. And this way, I want to thanks to our great principal for this amazing students and again to our Dr. Derry Dekanai for educating and giving the students the education. Yes, I like these goals. I like these goals. The first goal, you to know what should be provided by the better education. Your second goal is to know what actions we are going to make in the order to have a quality education. The third goal is to provide equal access to each one student. I think that each one person here, not only here, everywhere, need to think about this. Think about the students who still don't have a quality education. Here, you gave us you gave us this educational facilities, what it means. You mentioned the 21st skills, the 21st century skills. The students want more excitements, more funds, more new experience to eliminate disparities like diversity, talents, ability. Then increase the number of the youth and adults, you say. What is that? What is about the development? What skills, what talents do we need today? And how to complete the education? High quality education is that you gave us, you recognize this and this. I need to go through this presentation of our students because they are today the persons who are giving us the way, showing us the way, and what we need to improve like educators. We need to hear their desires and their needs. If we don't know that, we will not be, our pet is not a correct pet. So we are change makers. We need to be change makers and to make this education really quality. Please, a big, big, big clap for our great student, Castillo. Thank you. We still have students. Now we have a beautiful student. We will call her. Let's see, who is this? This is a beautiful and very smart student called Shane Daniel St. Louis. Welcome, dear Shane. Welcome, dear Shane. And let's hear you. We heard the views of and solutions of your colleagues, classmates.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, it is not still a full screen. If you put
Can you already see my screen?
great, great, great. You can
Okay.
start.
I would like to acknowledge everyone who is listening and present here today. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Shane Daniel San Luis, a student from St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Philippines, and I'm one of your speaker for today. And I will be speaking about the SDG number 4, which is the quality education. It was Bill Frist who quoted that everyone should have the opportunity to receive quality education. But how? By 2030, the aim of the SDG 4 is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong opportunities for all. In order to achieve this, we must all have education. We all know that education is a basic child rights. So before I go on with my discussion, I want this question to retain in your mind. How is education a basic child's right if education is not available and accessible for all? So what's preventing us from achieving quality education? Here are the barriers to education. First, poverty, discrimination, quality teaching, children with disabilities, gender, natural disasters, war, and conflict. Among these barriers, poverty is the most common, so I would like to focus on this one. Poverty in some countries results in limited or no access to high-quality education. One's chances of achieving success in society are slim, leading to a vicious cycle of poverty and inequity. Policymakers and governments must invest in breaking the cycle by ensuring that all children, regardless of background, have high access to quality education. Furthermore, they must invest in the quality of our educators, both in and out of the classroom, because our educational systems are critical to our society's future. The focus of poverty in the post-pandemic environment should be ending learning poverty. According to the World Bank in 2021, learning poverty should focus on reading particularly for three reasons. One, reading proficiency is an easily understood learning measure. Second, reading is a student's gateway to learning other areas. Third, reading proficiency can serve as a proxy for foundational learning in other subjects. I believe that learning poverty indicator will allow us to progress toward SDG 4 broader goal to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education for all. So, because of this barrier, how do we achieve SDG 4, the quality education? First and foremost, the education system must be strengthened. I believe that education should be available and accessible to all. Every child must be able to access and complete an inclusive quality primary and secondary education in order to meet not only the global goal for education, but all global goals by 2030. So for availability, education should be available for all. Governments should ensure that there are enough educational institutions for citizens. As a student, education should be readily available in the Philippines from the basic education to tertiary education. Accessibility, everyone should have the access to education. For non-discriminating, children and youth should be free to attend school regardless of their gender, religion, disability, ethnicity, and sexual orientation, among other things. Next is physically accessible. Schools and other educational centers should be in safe places. Schools must also be within a reasonable distance from their students. If this isn't possible, schools should let their students attend through distance learning programs. Third is economically accessible. This is connected to the barrier I tackled earlier, which is the poverty. So education should be affordable or free. In particular, primary schools should be free while governments should work toward making higher levels of education free. And for equity, taking an equity approach helps education become more inclusive and fairer to all. But how? Equity means adapting education to the needs and requirements of each child. To be able to adjust education to the needs of the children, you need to combine the insights, experiences, and expertise working with these children. As a student, I believe equity is essential in the attainment of quality education for all. I am very lucky to belong to a school here in the Philippines, which is the St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, that gives many opportunities for students to excel in their academics. So why do we need to achieve quality education? Because what I have discussed, poverty is a cycle. Poverty shouldn't be an excuse to not achieve quality education. Why? Because education has no borders. We should keep in mind that quality education should provide children and young people with the necessary skills and knowledges, attitudes and behaviors to lead positive and productive lives. In the school that I am studying, education has become borderless because of the innovative and creative programs created for the students. One very good example is the collaborative online international learning, which gives students access to communicate to different students across the globe, and of course, the opportunity to which the International Internship University provides. We should work to guarantee universal access to quality education. supporting children living in areas of conflict and humanitarian crisis to go to school. As a student, I agree that access to quality education is an essential human right, but this will only be possible by the efforts of the entire community, which includes the students, parents, schools, and government. So to conclude my discussion, I'd like to end my presentation with this quote: "It takes a village to raise a child." So to achieve SDG 4, everyone must work together to realize this SDG. As a student, I will continue to study even more better to acquire the necessary competencies for my future and the future of my country. As a student, I will be more actively involved in SDG related programs of the school. And lastly, I will try my best to be a role model for everyone. So I asked you a while ago that how is education a basic child rights if education is not available and accessible for all? But now I'd rather ask, what can we do to make education available and accessible for all? That ends my discussion about the SDG number 4. And thank you everyone for having me and giving me this opportunity to speak about quality education. Again, thank you everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, great Shane. Thank you, great Shane, for your presentation. I'm sure that every child very soon will have the opportunity to receive that quality education. I absolutely agree that we have a lot of barriers, and the barriers we talk about the poverty, discrimination. We need to have a quality teaching, gender. So that barriers are others SDG, and will they be achieved by 2030? We will see. You started with the poverty, how to stop the poverty, how to limit that access, how to invest, and how to give to the other students. Is education available? You gave us the solutions about the availability and accessibility of the education. That education should be available for all. Governments need to take care about that. And what about the accessibility? This virtual learning today help us really a lot. You mentioned that before I will tell you say about the equity. What the equity means today on the world, what we need to be able to do, why do we need to achieve quality education. And I like this really much in your presentation. You say education has no borders. I agree, and that need to be really that education has no borders, that children and young people will have that necessary skills, will have that knowledge, with the attitudes and behaviors on leading on the positive and productive life. Also, access to a quality education is a fundamental human right. We are talking about the human rights, and it is each one child have a right on the quality education and have a right to his voice to be heard. And this is the aim of this conference. We started today with three amazing students, from St. Patrick's School from the Philippines. Each one student, I think if you listen very carefully, that you already built and have a paper and a notice with the things that you need to take care about in your education, in your work, what their messages were today very clear to us. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, great students. I can't wait to hear you again. And yes, you said internships, exchanges. I think that we will meet very soon again on some kind of webinar. me and you, because I like to be, and I'm a global educator here, and I'm also with your school, and I want to thanks to the principal and to Dr. Derry for this opportunity. So we will see again very soon in virtual on some kind of workshops or the lectures, and we will do exchanges. Big clap to our great students. Let's see. Let's start with our speakers. Now I would like to call an amazing educator. She is coming from United Arabian Emirates. She is Mrs. Chandani Kinger. Welcome, Mrs. Chandani.
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. I'll just turn on my camera, just a minute.
No problem, no problem. We are really honored to listen you. Mrs. Chandani is great. Not only today, she will talk about quality education. Yesterday, she talked about the cyber laws, cyber security. So, we have amazing educators here, and they are covering a lot of fields, because if you don't know, cover all the fields, students from the St. Patrick's School already gave us that message. We need to
Yes.
be very creative, innovative, critical thinkers. Thank you.
Yes.
We see your presentation. You can start. Welcome.
Thank you. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. My name is Chandni, as already Dr. Nada said. I'll be talking about the SDG 4s, and I have seen the lovely students have already discussed about that. So it will be just a highlight that I'll be putting it on with my presentation. So let's begin with that. SDGs has become a most talkative, we can say, a topic that is even recently being announced by everyone, and rather than announced, I can say that it has been practiced by everyone, even wherever they are working, even in our countries, even in our schools, universities, wherever we go. So SDGs has become that part of our lives, that wherever we go, wherever we see that yes, it has developed such a scenario. And I am staying in UAE, so I have recently observed Expo 2020, which again was totally about the sustainable development and sustainability and innovations and all those things. So it has been a practice, or it has become a part of our day-to-day life, which is creating a large impact on all our lives of the people and all over the globes. uh, Talking about the SDG 4, SDG 4 again is ensuring the inclusive and the quality education. Now, when we are talking about inclusive, earlier we used to have the thought of, okay, SDG 4 talks about the quality education, and over a period of time, when we went into the detail, when we started to look into, we came at how the quality education, not only with just promoting it in the way of education, but also how we can make it as an inclusion, and along with that, how we can promote the long learning opportunities for all of them. It may be the individuals, it may be the people who are working the professional fields, it may be the teachers, it may be the students. So all of them, how we can make it as a lifelong learning process in inculcating the SDGs in our life. And if we look into certain scenarios, that how the SDGs, not only SDG 4 but also the other SDGs are connected with each other, and what the educational targets and the indicators does SDG 4 has within it. So as we can see here, the target 3.7 talks about health and well-being, which again includes the education of the family planning and all those. And when we talk about SDG 5, it talks about gender equality. SDG 8 talks about decent work and economic growth. But all of these SDGs, they have some interconnections relating with the SDG 4, that is about the quality education. So and even the last one, I think climate change has become a major topic. We are already seeing a climate change projects. We are already seeing a climate change action plans are coming up, and even this has become a part of curriculum. Even this week, I was talking to one of the teacher, and she mentioned that they are working on certain projects relating to the environmental aspects, relating to the climate change. And one of the participant from our school, he represented about the Eco Asia, and all those things are happening around the world, and it has made as a part of the educational systems that we see in our day-to-day life. So this interconnections or interlinks between the SDGs that we have is really important, because each SDG holds some value for themselves or some value for within. So they have their own importance with regard to that. Yes, when we talk about MDGs along with the SDGs, it may be the unfinished, it may be the economic, it may be the environment, and how we put them in the way of implementation. So I think yesterday only we were there together, me and Dr. Nada and Pradipta sir and all. We were talking about International Peace Day and all. So yes, we always look into that, how the means of implementations can be applied, maybe in terms of partnerships, as this platforms where you all are connected, this all has a different partnerships within themselves, the organizations or the people who are connected with each other. So all these SDGs, achieving them as a UN goal 2030 is not a job for one person. But yes, when we connect them with the education, when we put them in the curriculums, especially for the schools, especially for the universities, the research scholars who are working for the PhDs and all those degrees and all, they come into this scenario together, they join hands together, and then we all put this forward, making it as an educational purpose to achieve SDGs and the goals that we have for 2030. Talking about the agenda that we have for national for SDGs again, and I was talking in my previous slides about the MDGs, that is again the Millennium Development Goals. But when we say SDGs, they have the different structures, they have the different processes and the scopes. And as we can see, the infographic presented that how the mission, how the vision, the results, follow up, and the implementation, when they all combine together, when they all come together, and this can only be achieved when the quality education is being provided, and it has to be practical. Now we have seen during the COVID time that how the things have changed from the traditional educational methods or the protocols, and it may be the primary education, it may be the secondary education, which is difficult to for some of the people also, that getting the primary education becomes a very challenging task many of the time for them, or some of the time it becomes very difficult for these people to achieve those basic educational facilities. And looking into the roadmap, that how we can progress, or how we can see where do we stand when we are talking about UN development, when we are talking about the SDGs, when we are talking about the climate change or the peace. Where do we stand in this crafts? Where do we as a country or as a human being, where do we contribute when we talk about achieving the SDGs goals that we have for 2030? So that's something which was interesting. Yes, talking about impacts, it may be the SDGs 4, which is being mandated actually by many of the countries, and I think most of the countries all over the world, they have mandated this. And I was showing the connection, so the interlinks between the SDG 4 and the other goals, as we can see, the poverty education, the health and nutrition, equality, the partnerships, all of them are coming together. And when this all of them comes together, this is actually promoting the lifelong learning for the kids. This is allowing or ensuring the equal access for all, it may be the boys, girls, men, women, it may be for the primary, secondary, or the university level, or the further educational levels, and keeping the keeping aside the gender disparities, or we can say the inabilities, or the deficiency that the people have to some extent. So all this has to be kept aside, and the promotions for providing at least for the primary education has to be done. These are the figures that has came up since 2015 till 2020 and 2021, that how the percentage of the people, maybe for the early school leavers in 2020, the tertiary education, the adult learning, the adults with at least basic digital skills, which were there which was not that a sharpened area till 2019. But after, when we observed the COVID and all, I think all of them have become the digital experts. So definitely the people who didn't had those access to the internet, who didn't had the access to the digital facilities. Now all of them are empowered, and this has become part of the educational programs. Many of the people, I just have recently heard somewhere or read somewhere actually the article that there is a teacher who is teaching and in a small room where they are providing, I think this was a case from Nigeria or something, and they are providing the teacher, he himself is doing a voluntary activity by providing a basic education or the primary education to the people or the kids. And this person has not only focused on the kids, but yes, he is trying to empower the ladies or the women who are sitting at home and who don't have even the primary educational access. So they have become digitally equalized or digitally equipped with the scenarios that we have faced here. Talking about the formal education and non-formal education, because we have seen that, okay, when we have the degrees, when we have the certificates, then only we are the people who are being renowned or who are being recognized when we enter the markets, and especially in terms of job opportunities, in terms of the recognition in front of the people. But that doesn't completes the education to a greater extent, we can say. We have the lateral links with the non-formal education also. And I think this is observed by all of us, that if we don't know this basic, I can say as a common sense, then we cannot even after having those degrees, we still cannot recognize ourselves in the market. We cannot market ourselves in the market in front of the others. Talking about the goals of 2030, which justifies that how the educational opportunities provided to the others, how the educational opportunities supported by the others helps us to bring to come together and to have the access to all these facilities which are needed, and even the basic medical facilities, even the basic digital facilities. Before the COVID, there were many countries, or there were many cities or villages which didn't have access to the internet also. But now, over a period of time, with the awareness of the and with the providing of the education, or the providing of the upbringing of the people in such a way that all of them have came together to support each other and move towards the UN development goals of 2030. Again, I've put this slide over here, which talks about the early levels and tertiary education. And also, when we look at this gives us a reflection that how many things are interconnected, how many things are there which supports the world to have this 17 goals to transform our world. And this again helps us to understand that where still we have those percentages which are not satisfactory, but yes, we cannot ignore the fact that they are still an improvising or improving factors there. So this is something what I wanted to share with you all today, and I hope I have justified my learning here. Thank you, Dr. Nada. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Great, great, Chandari. Really great listening you. I like this infographics because we hear also from our students from the St. Patrick's School and from my students and all visualization. Without statistics, we cannot do nothing, and that is for us. I can say a start path for doing action. Always great to have you here. Wishing that we will see again very soon. This year, last year, we gave that educators took 2 SDGs, but I think that this is maybe better because we are going only on the one by the choice. So thank you for being today with us. From the United Arabian Emirates, we are going to India. We have an amazing professor. Educator, researcher. He will say now how many years of experience he had educating. So let's hear our great Dr. Sudhakar.
Good morning, good evening all.
Good
My
evening.
screen is visible. My screen is
Yes,
visible.
yes, Dr. Suthakar, but it is not a full screen. Yes, now it
Okay.
is great. Great, great, great.
So thank you everyone. Thank you participants also. Thank you Nada madam for inviting me for this great lecture in the IIU. My topic is quality education. I have selected because I am in the education field. So I will focus on most quality education nowadays. So this is a very good quote, a very common quote. Learning gives creativity. Creativity leads to thinking. Thinking provides knowledge. Knowledge makes you great. And hence start learning now. So this is a mantra for good education, quality education. So quality education may start from learning activities. These are the 4 steps for quality education. Always you must learn creative and thinking, and you must have the that much knowledge. One of the scientists, Indian scientist C.V. Raman, has given some quotes regarding quality of education. Uh, Students of today are being taught by the teachers of yesterday with the curriculum which is of the day of before yesterday. This is very important because there must be change in the curriculum day by day, and for good teaching and good quality education, we require the good curriculum for this. So this is one of the most important quote given by the Albert Einstein, very famous scientist, regarding education quality. And according to him, I never try to teach my students anything. I only try to create an environment where they can learn. So a quality of teacher is not only giving knowledge to the students, but they have to create quality education environments. Automatically student will get that knowledge and they can learn so many things. And regarding quality educations, there are 5 steps that is called as process of educations. First is learning, passion, education, applications, and success. Already I have given the quote, that is everything starts from learning, and what is the end? That is the success. So in between that, we have 3 more steps, that is passion. You must have the passion of teaching, you must have passion of learning, you must passion of learning good things in educations, and you have to apply that knowledge in the actual practical situations in the industries or in the societies. What is teaching abilities? Must we require teaching ability for quality education. So this is my experience, that measuring teaching ability has become a central theme of a recent government policy on raising standards in the college. But what does good teaching really mean, and how should we judge competence, success, and excellence? Always in the quality education, we require the competence, success, and excellence, and these 3 can be improved or developed by the current government policies. Government policies are very important in each country for the development of quality education. So I want to give some my views on quality education. By providing high quality education to all makes India a global knowledge superpower. The public school education system will aim to impart the highest quality education so that it becomes the most attractive option for parents from all walks of life to educate their children. So parents' point of view, this is very important. They want the highest quality education for their children. Model public universities. We have so many universities in the world, and hence what is the uh, scope of that university is very important. Model public universities for holistic and multidisciplinary education. So this is a need of our holistic and multidisciplinary educations at par with IITs, IIMs, and called multidisciplinary education, and research institutes will set up and aim to attain the highest global standards in quality educations. Quality education has some 3 important things. Educational failure. So there may be chance of educational failure during our process of education. One of the major causes of educational failure is the supposedly near complete control over policies and practice by teachers and other professional educators. If practice is not sufficiently given to the students by the teachers and other professional educators, definitely the education may fail. Next is the need for quality education. What is the need for quality education? Which is based on the core values of the social justice and social responsibility. So when we want quality education, you must concentrate on social justice and social responsibility. Next is national education policies, highlights inclusive practices of making corresponding changes. Already I have discussed this an NEP in detail in the earlier sessions, and hence for national education policy is must, and it is related to changes in curriculum, pedagogical trainings, continuous assessments, student support systems to ensure quality educations. This right to education, everybody requires the educations, and this right to education goes beyond free and compulsory educations to include quality education for all. Quality is an integral part of the right to education. If the education process lacks quality, children are denied their rights. This is very important. So always we require free education, and it must be made compulsory. Several communities in India like AICT, TCube, UGC, these are the agency in India controlling education systems. AICT, TCube, UGC have recommended restructuring the overall curriculum to inculcate quality educations. Now we have so many factors affecting quality education. So that is first is lack of communication skills. Students admitted to the rural side. So generally when students are admitting in the colleges or schools, they are particularly from rural sides, they lack communications, and which paves the way that faculty should always be available for clarifications. Second is board and chalk method. This is outdated. Board and chalk methods are outdated, and the best method should be identified to improve the good teaching. Learning from memorization, but not from understanding. So this is a one factor. Always students are memorizing each and everything, but they cannot understand. The material is presented only based on the lecture notes and textbooks. Now the days are gone. So don't believe on lecture notes and textbook. Go beyond that. The single approach should not be fulfill criteria of excellent and effective teaching. Thus, multiple procedures are necessary. So always people as teachers are preferring criteria for excellent and effective teaching methods in the classrooms. So teacher must know the goal of education. So this goal of education will decide the quality of education. The goal of education is the growth of students so that they become productive citizens of dynamic and ever-changing society. Quality education is becoming more important to produce quality engineers. As I am the faculty of engineering in education, I will always think of quality education in engineering. One of the main techniques to provide quality education is actively based learning. Actively based learning improves the quality educations. The fundamental goal of any educational institution is to provide quality education, state of the art of facilities to students, and help them to build new skills that would help in shaping their careers. So quality education can be achieved not only by the teachers and students, but also depends on the cooperation and support from the government also. The respective education council must look into balancing and updating the current education scenario. Teachers should adopt best teaching practices for quality education. These would be smart classrooms, video lectures, PowerPoint presentations, and creative assignments. For quality education, the competency level, personal character of the teachers are the most important factors. So why plan lectures for quality education? So planning of lectures by the teacher is very important for quality education. Quality education will get through fundamentals of teaching and skills needed to become real and effective teacher. Improve the quality of your lecture. I am telling the teachers. So what we require nowadays for quality education, improve the quality of the lectures, raise the motivation of your students, promote the soft skills of your students, use your time and knowledge more efficiently in the classrooms, Importance of engineering education. So education is an essential need of every human being. It is what provides us wisdom. So getting wisdom is the main goal of the education. Education brings into focus the social aspects of man. Education symbolizes man's supreme position in the society. Technology is essentially the need of the hour. Engineering is a science involving designing, building, and using machines, engines, structures. Pursuing an engineering degree is a popular career options in India. Engineering education is the practical solutions to almost any kind of problem which holds the capacity to settle, prevent, and preview any practical anomaly in an objects. Engineers are the builders and designers of the world. It is said that engineering is not just degree, but a way of thinking. A degree in engineering can open. Engineer is a professional trade to create engineering systems for the benefit of mankind. Engineer designs these systems and produces goods and services which help in socio-economic and human development in many ways. Thus, engineer has a role not only to benefit society but also in designing society itself. Engineer design economic and human development in many ways. Thus, engineer has a role in benefiting society and designing society itself. Engineering is one of the few professionals where creativity meets logic. This is very important. Engineers must develop fundamental understanding of their professional responsibilities. Their knowledge and skills are in high demand across various sectors, from manufacturing to financial services and everything in between. Engineers know that scientific and mathematical skills are necessary for professional success. This role of education and engineering educations are very important. So education and training system is very important for equipment in the engineering education, science professionals to shoulder growing responsibility and pursue engineering opportunities. Engineers must exhibit more than first rate technical and scientific skills. So it is very important to develop the technical and scientifics in the country for the development of each and everything. So these are the visions of engineering systems for the development of quality education. First is integration, analysis, innovation and synthesis, contextual understanding. As it is very important, integration is required for uh, societal needs and environmental fragility. Analysis we require always for the analysis we require the critical thinking, critical understanding, problem solving analysis, and hence we require modeling, simulation, experimentations, optimization of the systems for the better life of the human being. Contextual understanding is very important, appreciating the economic, industrial, international environment in which engineering is practiced and the ability to provide societal leadership effectively. I am telling about master's degree is necessary for the development of knowledge, quality education in the industries, social and economic management sciences. The first step is to reform our education and training system. So this is very important. What is our education and training system in for the scientists and engineers? Always we require innovation and creativity in quality education. So I will just take 1 or 2 minutes. Always we are considering effective professional development for the quality education. So for engineering students, always we must develop the competencies through problem solving techniques, innovation techniques, communication techniques, teamwork techniques, leadership techniques, ethics techniques, and sustainability. Engineering educators develop their competence in mainly 3 stages. First stage is enhancing standard of teaching techniques. Second is understanding the science and principles of learning and teaching. And third is exploring the humanistic dimensions of the educations. Generally, we are preferring pedagogical knowledge in the quality educations. Thank you very much listening my lecture carefully. Thank you, Nada madam. Thank you,
Thank you.
participants.
Big clap for our great Professor Sudhakar. An amazing speech, amazing presentation. I really like the start, what we hear from you today. A great educator, learning, creativity, thinking, knowledge. So what you say that you never try to teach your students, you always try to create an environment for them. And you today explain each one of the processes of education, learning, passion, education, application, all. And what is the quality education and what it means high quality education and what are the standards for the quality education? What are the failures today? What quality education need to have? And yes, Professor Sulkakar also was involved here at International Internship University in the national economy policy. He was talking about that and also giving many solutions for the policy here in India. And what is the right to education and what are the communities in India today? He say and explain us to go and what to plan and how to plan the lectures and what it means quality education, what we need, what skills we need, what is the wisdom, what is the social aspect, what means technology, what is engineering. He's coming from the field of engineering and he talks about what we need, what engineering includes, involves in education. What is engineering education? Because that is really, when we talk about education, there you have an opportunity to have a practical skills, solutions, many solutions. Who are engineers today? They are building, they are designing. And today to have a degree in engineering is really important. Me also, and after Dr. Sudhakar, we will have also educator from this field. I also have this field in my education. I'm an economic and also an engineer. So that part of engineer today in my education is very, very important. It gives me that knowledge and that skills for the education. So that is very important to have this and if you don't have that, try to improve that, try to learn that, try to get that skills, because today, as we hear, I will again repeat what our students from Philippines, what were their messages, and how can you be interactive. Thank you so much, Dr. Sutkakar. It is always a pleasure to listen you because we learn a lot and yes, I think that after this all our sessions are recorded, so if you miss this, please watch because you have a lot of things to learn. We know that lifelong learning is important, really important, but if we talk about we're in education on the first place. Big clap.
Thank
Now
you.
thank you. After our Dr. Sudhakar, we are going to a country, Uzbekistan, and we have an educator, Feroz Akbarov. Educator Feroz Akbarov, please, would you like to tell us few words about you? Because I don't know you from our other sessions. I think that you are here for the first time. So please tell us something about you.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Perfect.
Few words
Good
about
evening.
you.
Okay, perfect. Good evening from my part of the world. I come from Uzbekistan. It is the heart of Central Asia, which recently hosted an international summit, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and it definitely caught the spotlight, the spotlight of an international media. So I come from exactly that city, Samarkand. It's also dubbed as ancient Rome. And it's my pleasure to be on a global platform of International Internship University to share my perspectives and my learnings with all of you in regard with United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4, quality education. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Frizik Bar, an international ESL instructor, public speaker, a mentor, teacher trainer, you just name it, and also a vlogger. I have my YouTube channel. I keep uploading lots of educational videos. Out of curiosity, you may check them all out. And as you know, quality education is so profound in depth and meaning. So I'm not going to, walk you through a lot of theory, but I'll try to pick one dimension of quality education, which is lifelong learning. And I'll try to break it down and dissect in about 20 minutes or so. So let's go ahead. So here is what I prepared for you. There's a little bit of build up to my presentation, followed by some practical examples. I'm going to provide my own examples from what I did in line with quality education locally, and also the pros of lifelong learning. And that's how I'm going to wrap up my presentation. So first things first, what do we understand by lifelong learner? Lifelong learner means you have to unleash your full potential in various walks of life. And for example, I'm a founder of an international English Teachers Association that has been in effect since October 12, 2021. It's going to be the first anniversary just at the start of next month. I'm an English teacher, I'm a public speaker, I'm a volunteer, a trainer, an event organizer, a skydiver. That's an extreme, an adventurous person. I'm a jogger, I love sport, I'm a content creator, I'm an admin of a large Facebook group, I'm a vlogger, I have my YouTube channel, and after all, I'm a lifelong learner. I've just shown you some examples of what a lifelong learner could be. You have to really, bring the best out of your untapped potentials, because I believe every individual has his hidden gems, and it is up to your efforts to bring out all those potentials and fully exploit them. So here's another example. The human life largely revolves in between those two things, like the cradle and the gravestone. Why am I showing you this? There is a metaphorical reference, because across the nations, across the religious preachings, there is such a statement that seek knowledge from cradle to grave. And this is so much metaphorical that our entire human life is actually based upon learning, and this learning never ends. And over to India, and this man is arguably one of my best mentors of all time, Mahatma Gandhi. He said, "Live as if you were to die tomorrow, and learn as if you were to live forever." So perhaps Gandhi ji wanted to say that there's no ending for learning. So learn as if you were to live forever, and this is how it takes. It is infinite. It is endless. And over to China, another great mentor, Confucius, he said, if your plan for 1 year, plant a rice. If your plan is for 10 years, plant trees. And if your plan is for 100 years, educate children. So this is what it means, the effect and immense power of education. We're talking about quality education and creating those lifelong learning opportunities across the globe, which are inclusive, equitable, and quality. So, by providing all that by 2030, We're not just going to save ourselves a big trouble, but we are going to save the planet. We're going to save the planet for the generations to come, because by educating the children, the population on the globe, we're going to invest in the best way possible in our own future. Over to Egypt, to be precise, in ancient Egypt. And why am I showing you the pyramids? Pyramids are an excellent embodiment of what lifelong learning could be, because these grand edifices were built more than 2,000 years ago, and they still ignite our curiosity. Even by the help of cutting-edge modern technology, the scientists are still trying to, crack the code of what these pyramids could hide behind these huge walls. It is still mysterious. It's enshrouded with lots of mystery, which we have to really solve. And this is perhaps another good example that learning has no boundaries. It has no heights. It is just, like they say, sky's the limit, and learning has no endings. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, in 2015, the heads of state convened at the UN General Assembly for adopting 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and our today's conference theme is largely around quality education, which is number 4. Let's just remember what it means. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Like I said, I am just trying to walk you through one tiny dimension of this entire Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is a lifelong learning. And I'll just make a brief pause. I'm not able to see the participants, but I like to, ask you an interactive question. Where are you from? Like, where are you from? From which part of the world are you following this conference? Could you please put it in the comments section? And perhaps Ms. Nada will read the comments, because I can't see the comments.
Yes, we have. Let's see from which country they are. We have here Romania, we have Zimbabwe,
Okay.
we have a lot of countries. So let me come back to just a moment. Let's see. No, why can't I see this comment?
Yeah, please put it in the comments.
We have Kenya, we have
Kenya, okay.
Mexico, we have India, we have Romania, as I said, Pakistan.
Nice.
We have a lot
you.
of different countries.
Okay. That's wonderful. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, usually when we are just about to graduate from the college or university, so at the end of our thoughts, it is to land a job that that can secure us our livelihood. But most of the times we falsely assume that that's the end of learning. By the time we graduate from the university, by the time we receive our college diploma, we feel like, okay, I'm done with all kind of learning, and now I can, happily do my work and, collect my salary at the end of each month, and that's how I'm going to pursue the end of the rest of my life. But that's where, the mistake arises. That's the root cause of all the failure. The moment we stop learning, that's when we are highly vulnerable to all kind of failures and mistakes. By profession, I'm a linguist, and I have collected several kinds of definitions of lifelong learning. And I want the audience to kindly choose one word from the definition that is in black color and put it in the comments. Like, in your mind, which word or a group of words describe lifelong learning best? I'm going to read it for you. Lifelong learning, self-initiated, self-education for personal and professional development. Could you please put in the comments any word or word phrase that in your mind describes lifelong learning best? And still, I can't see the comments. Ms. Nada is going to jump in and help me. You unmuted?
See that what they are writing. Let me see.
Yeah, please put it in the comments. Any of those expressions that in your mind describes lifelong learning best. Now there's a bit of interaction with me and the audience, though I can't see them. I was trying to use my iPad. Yeah.
Now we are waiting. I still don't see no one to write. Miss Maria, please write. Mr. Isaiah from Kenya, can you write, please?
Yeah, you can just pick any word expression from the definition and put it in the comments. So perhaps it's self-initiated or self-education or personal or professional or just the word development. So what is described best or defined best by life learning? Do you have any comments?
I write from the research. I write self-education. Hello.
Okay.
They are writing only hello. No, not
right.
Yet. Okay.
So you can choose any word or word expression, but I put it self-initiated. This is one of the pillars of lifelong learning, that it is self-initiated. It comes from the bottom of your heart. You do it voluntarily. You initiate. You are an initiator. You do it because you want it. Nobody forces you. Nobody pushes you to do it. You know, there's no responsibility. This is just out of your will. So that's self-initiated. This is one segment of lifelong learning. Now let's check out the other one. Here's another example. Lifelong learning equals ongoing, voluntary, and self-motivated pursuit of knowledge. Now I want you to choose, again, one word or a word expression that defines lifelong learning best. Your version. You know, there are no rights or wrong, so feel free to comment in any way.
Let's see. Professor Patricia, what you say here? Dr. Soik, let's hear.
Lifelong learning equals?
Yeah, it's ongoing, I suppose.
Okay, perfect. Exactly. So this
yes,
is
Dr. Soik,
ongoing.
bravo.
Yes, actually, all of those define lifelong learning best, but you know, ongoing, it makes it that this is continuous. It's cyclical. So we have two essential, you know, pillars of what life learning could be. Lifelong learning is self-initiated, that you do it voluntarily, and then it is ongoing, that it never ends, it's continuous. Speaking of lifelong learning, it is worth mentioning the principles laid down by Carrick Dwell. She's American, and she said there are two kinds of people with a growth mindset and people with a fixed mindset. I could go on to read some of the examples from both categories. For the growth mindset, they look at the failure as an opportunity to grow because they always constantly learn. Remember, just a while ago, I said one of the components of lifelong learning is it's ongoing. So they constantly learn. And on the other hand, people with a fixed mindset, they are easily frustrated once they fail. So they are, you know, likely to give up at the first sign of failure. So this is what separates those two people from one another. That people with growth mindset are those who are the true lifelong learners, and they constantly, voluntarily learn and never stop. Ladies and gentlemen, over to some practical examples. You know, as part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4, I tried to go about locally. I tried to implement the global goal in my part of the world. So last year in October 12th, from a Facebook group, from a scratch, I started an international English teachers community, now popularly and globally known as IITA Uzbekistan. I designed the logo and the slogan for the people, by the people. You know, this is by the people, meaning people are going to pitch in and contribute, and this is going to be for the people. And this all is absolutely free of charge. And what I did, you know, in the framework of that community, I went on to organize free webinars, and those webinars were attended by people from almost all continents, from Africa, Algeria, Morocco, from Europe, Serbia, and Albania, and some other countries.
Croatia. Was anyone from Croatia?
From Croatia, I can't remember, but Croatia is very close to that part, like Serbia, right?
Yes, they are our neighbors.
Yes. So, and from Asia, you know, this was a kind of an unheard of a project in the unsettling times of pandemic, when in the larger part of the world, the education was disrupted and teacher education came to a halt temporarily. And, you know, I had to step up as an educational leader to connect all those people, to give them a hope, to enlighten them, to empower them, and so that they could, you know, take all those insights and learnings straight into their classes, and in turn, you know, share with their students. This was my initial idea, and that idea worked a large extent. And then after the pandemic, when, you know, the strict measures were started relaxing, I went out and, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, yeah. I went out across my country to different parts of Uzbekistan. I started organizing various kind of workshops and seminars. And yeah, you can see lots of examples of me from west to east, from south to north. I covered almost entire country, and I tried to unite people through the association that I built up from a Facebook group. You know, it is hard to believe, looking back at time when nobody even thought that I could start a community of educators from a Facebook group. And now there are about 4,000, incredible amount. There are 4,000 of global educators on IITA Uzbekistan Facebook group. You can be part of it. Feel free to join upon at the end of the conference. So there are lots of examples. And, you know, lifelong learning means I am constantly being part of the global events, conferences, seminars, and webinars. Whenever I'm called on duty, I happily accept the offer, and I go on to pitch in and contribute my fair share nationally, internationally. And through IITA Uzbekistan, I created lots of projects, one of which was a TED Master. TED Master is somewhat similar to TED Talks, which we know it's very popular. But TED Master has something different from TED Talks, that in TED Master, first, it is virtual on Zoom, and second, there is a breakout room session for the attendees that they can have a personal connection with people across the globe. And, you know, what really excited me and what really made me happy is that I saw some fellow local English teachers from my part of the world, coming from all those remote areas, who were able for the first time to connect with international educators from Algeria, from Morocco, from Serbia. You know, usually they don't have that chance to talk to someone from Serbia or from Morocco. It's like worlds apart. So I you know, facilitated the opportunity through TED Master project. This is just one of my projects. And I'm about to conclude my presentation with 3 major takeaways of what life learning is all about. The first thing is it provides continuous professional development. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very often asked why I go on to do lots of English teaching related courses, from US, from Ireland, from Cambridge. I just never stopped doing all those teacher qualification courses just because it is part of my lifelong learning pursuit, that I never stop learning something new, because every day offers you a new takeaway, a fresh insight, a brand new learning opportunity. So this is not for a mere purpose of collecting, piling up all those certificates and just putting on display. No, I'm just doing all those courses as part of my lifelong learning pursuit. Another major takeaway of lifelong learning is, it gives you an opportunity to reflect. For example, you might be a recent graduate and you may look back on 20 or 25 years of your life, and you can draw some lessons and conclusions over your mistakes, over your successes and accomplishments, and you can pave the roadmap for your future based on what you've accomplished already in your previous let's say years. And for that, you need a kind of a cyclical learning opportunity, that you have to constantly learn so that you could reflect at some point in your life whether you've been going on the right path or you've been derailed from the course of your purpose. So without lifelong learning habit, it would be very difficult for you to reflect on your own life. Last but not least, it gives you a chance to empower yourself throughout your life. And this is why we need lifelong learning. This is just, I'm just talking about a teeny tiny segment of what quality education is. It's really broad in a sense, in meaning, in depth, that I can't really fit into a 20-minute presentation. So what I did is I tried to pick the tiniest chunk of that global goal, lifelong learning, and I'm trying to, dissect it as much as I can. Here is another wonderful example of what life learning could mean. Your life is like riding a bicycle, and you as a cyclist as a lifelong learner. The moment you stop paddling, the moment you stop cycling or riding the bike, you are about to fall off the bike, and that is a failure, metaphorically. If you want to go further and further, you have to keep paddling. And this is a wonderful example of what life learning is. Ladies and gentlemen, our entire life is all about lifelong learning. And the moment you stop learning, you stop rediscovering, reinventing, relearning, that's when you stop from progress, development, and all those positive things. And here is my concluding quote from Confucius. He said, those people who develop the ability to continuously acquire new and better forms of knowledge that they can apply to their work and to their lives will be movers and shakers in our society for the indefinite future. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about movers and shakers. We're talking about game changers of our society. Who are those people? Of course, the people who are empowered, enlightened, who are educated, that they have the torch of light, that they're about to, share it, spread it among their community and globally. Thank you very much. These are my professional contacts. Feel free to reach out to me either on LinkedIn or Facebook. I have a YouTube channel. You can watch my webinars across different huge global platforms. There are very nice videos. And you can also follow me on Instagram that I'm not so active on. Anyway, thank you very much to International Internship University for providing me an excellent opportunity. Thank you.
Big clap to our great educator Feroz. You really inspired us with building, I can say, building that lifelong learning, showing us the practical examples, showing us what it means at the beginning, founder, teacher, speaker, volunteer, event organizer, jogger, your great examples, your great quote, each one had a big meaning. Yes, I always also think a lot about these pyramids in the Egypt. Why, what, how, and how can we do with this? Talking about education, walking through making a walk through the globe. You today make a very interactive speech presentation, asking us what is lifelong learning, what it means for us, comparing growth mindset, fixed mindset, and really impressing that you build through the pandemic your own network with a lot. You said more than 4,000 global educators. That is a good information. Like example, I didn't know you. I didn't know for your network. So now we know that you have this, and I like this CPD, that continuing of the professional development. Agree completely with you about the certificates. For me also, that certificates don't have a big meaning because today you can have a lot of certificates everywhere. For us, the knowledge is very important. Empowering our students, empowering us, keep cycling the bike. We come to the end of your presentation, and really amazing. I think that our participants on the Facebook here, we on the Zoom platform. Now, after you is coming a great doctor. I will ask him also to say a few comments on your presentation because really amazing. Thank you. I hope that you will join us again. And maybe on some kind of training session because we would like to hear you again and see. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, after Uzbekistan, we are going again to India. We have a great educator, great Dr. Souvik Ganguly. He is coming from the field of engineering, amazing educator. We heard before our Dr. Sudhakar. Now we will hear Dr. Souvik. Dr. Souvik, welcome.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all the audience. Good evening, ma'am. Once again, I'm here to deliver a very small talk on the quality of education. So that is one of the important sustainability goals that we had been discussing throughout the evening. And I was hearing Feroz, really wonderful presentation and a very good network that you have created.
Yes,
Yeah.
really great. Today, education, amazing. I agree. All our speakers, our students, amazing.
Yeah. So with this, let me start my small presentation. Mostly, I'll be focusing on the actual meaning of quality education in the context of sustainability goals that has been framed. So based on which we'll be talking about quality education and lifelong learning. What is the basic definition? What are the output targets of quality education, and what are the three different means of implementation of it? So as we see out here, there are 17 sustainability goals which have been framed, and of which there is sustainability goal for good health, for quality education, for gender equality, and as well as clean water and sanitization, everything. So right now we are in the discussion phase of quality education, and let me take you through the basic definition of sustainability development goal, which is SDG 4. It must ensure inclusive and equitable quality education, and it must also promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So obviously, our previous speaker has wonderfully explained the quality education and how to promote the lifelong opportunities. In this context, I would also like to share that during the COVID time, we had been experiencing all the conferences, all the workshops, all the short-term courses in virtual mode. And I too also have undergone a lot of webinars, not only for my own development, but I have also utilized them to deliver at certain occasions on different platforms. Whatever I have learned from the webinars, from the workshops, from the training that I have undergone. And of course, it's a continuous process. We still are in the learning phase, and we are trying to go through the different phases of our engineering education. I'm currently associated with an engineering institute. So obviously, focusing on the technical side and the developments, or the latest developments that have been taking place, we are moving on to these sort of things. So first of all, I'd like to tell you about what is sustainability development goal in a nutshell, what it's all about. Although many of the speakers have been discussing about ensuring a lifelong learning opportunities. Definitely, it is the first objective, that you must ensure lifelong learning opportunities for all, for every person, right from childhood till the adult education. And also, it must ensure equity, inclusion, and gender equality. We'll come across each of these objectives and how this output targets are being made and what it means actually. And about effective learning strategies, although my previous speakers have already talked upon, and the acquisition of relevant knowledge, skills, how to get access, and how to have the skill acquisition. So this will also talk about, and finally, ensuring the relevance of learning in terms of any technical skill, in terms of any vocational skill, for some decent work, as well as for global citizenship. So these are some of the basic objectives, or what we understand by Sustainable Development Goal 4 in a nutshell. So let us take you through some of the underlying principles which your Sustainability Development Goal 4 defines all about. First of all, we have education to be the fundamental human right. So basically, to fulfill this particular right, your countries must ensure universal access to inclusive and equitable quality education and learning, which should be free, it should be made compulsory, and leaving no one behind, irrespective of their gender, irrespective of their disabilities, social and economic situation. Education should always aim at the complete development of the human personality and also promote mutual understanding. Apart from that, we talk about education. It's a public good. What we understand by this is that education basically is a shared societal endeavor, which will imply an inclusive process of public policy formulation as well as implementation. So this is how in which we live in a civilized society, where teachers, educators, private sector, communities, families, youth, and children have their important roles. The role of the state is essential in setting and regulating certain standards or norms. Then comes gender equality. Definitely, it is linked to the right to education for all. And finally, achieving gender equality requires a right-based approach that will ensure that all boys and girls, all male and female students, men and women, not only gain access and also complete their education cycle, but also they are empowered equally in and through education. So this is how we talk about some of the underlying principles of this quality education. And now we will move on to some of the output targets. In fact, what has been laid down in quality education by the Sustainability Goal Development Goal 4, we have 7 different output targets. The first one is, of course, the universal primary and secondary education. The provision of having, say, for example, in Indian schooling system, we have 12 years of schooling system. So different countries may have a different schooling system or different schooling strategy. So from Indian side, from Indian context, it's a 12 years of free, publicly funded, inclusive, equitable, and quality primary and secondary education for all, of which there must be, at least in Indian context, it will be at least 9 years that are to be compulsory, leading to some relevant learning outcomes, and it should be ensured for all without making any discrimination. Apart from that, we go in for the second output, that is the early childhood development and the universal pre-primary education. Here the provision or the norm is for at least 1 year of free and compulsory quality pre-education or pre-primary education is to be encouraged. So different schooling systems have different ways of having. We had a preparatory before the going for the primary section. We had almost 2 to 3 years of pre-primary education, and it should be for the development of childhood and also for the care that should be imposed. So after that, we will have another which is called equal success to technical, vocational, and higher education. Definitely, it must be imperative to reduce the barriers to skill development and also impose upon technical and vocational education and training. We call it TVET, technical and vocational education and training. So starting from the secondary level as well as the tertiary education, including university, and to provide lifelong learning opportunities to the youths as well as the adults. The provision of this tertiary education should be made progressively free in line with the existing international agreements. Apart from that, we have the relevant skills for decent work is the next target, in which we must give equal access to this TVET that needs to be expanded, and while the quality is being ensured, the learning opportunities should be absolutely increased. It should be diversified using a wide range of education as well as training models. Apart from that, another important context is over here, the skill acquisition. Beyond some specific working skills, emphasis should be there on developing the higher level cognitive and non-cognitive or transferable skills, such as some problem solving abilities, the critical thinking abilities, as well as having development of creativity or team building activities, communication skills, as well as conflict resolution. So these sort of things must be there, or it is a fourth output target that we look into in the Sustainability Development Goal 4. Then we come for gender equality and inclusion of, although we discussed about that all boys and girls, women and men should have equal opportunity to enjoy education of highest quality and achieving at equal levels, and also enjoy equal benefits from the education. Apart from that, all people, irrespective of their sex, age, race, color, ethnicity, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property or birth, as well as persons with disabilities, will migrants even, some migrants even, indigenous people as well as the children and youth, especially those who are in vulnerable situations or others should have access to inclusive, equitable quality education and lifelong learning opportunities. So this is all about gender equality and inclusion statement. Next comes the sixth target is the universal youth literacy. Definitely action for this particular target uh, aims that by 2030, all our young people and adults across the world should have achieved relevant and recognized proficiency levels in functional literacy and numeracy skills that are equivalent to levels achieved at successful completion of basic education. So this is about the Universal Youth Literacy Campaign, which is extended till 2030. The final target that is there is the education for sustainable development and global citizenship. The knowledge, skills, and values, attitudes that are required by citizens to lead productive lives, make informed decisions, and assume active roles loyally and globally in facing and resolving global challenges can be acquired through education for sustainable development and global citizenship education, which includes peace and human rights education, as well as intercultural education and education for international understanding. So this is what we set as the output target or outcome targets. Apart from that, there are three means of implementation of this quality education policy, which relies upon effective learning environment. This particular target will address the need for adequate physical infrastructure and safe, inclusive environment that nurture learning for all, regardless of their background or their disability status as well. Next comes scholarships, definitely where developed countries offer scholarships to the students from developing countries. These should be structured enough to build the capability of the developing country. While the importance of scholarship is usually recognized, the donor countries are encouraged to increase other forms of support the education. So this is how we can make the implementation of the quality education. Apart from that, the main role lies with the teachers and the educators. Teachers and the educators, they are the key to achieving all these targets. It will require definitely some urgent attention because of the equity gap in education due to the shortage and uneven distribution of professionally trained teachers, especially in disadvantaged areas. So as teachers have a fundamental condition for guaranteeing quality education, your teachers and educators should be empowered, adequately recruited, remunerated, motivated, professionally qualified, and supported with well-resourced, efficient, and effectively governed systems. So with this, I complete my discussion on the Sustainability Development Goal 4, that is on quality education. Thanks IIU for giving this opportunity for me to present before such a wonderful audience. And it has been a very long association this time with IIU and Nada ma'am, especially for once again, we are thankful to present before such a wonderful audience.
We are also so proud and happy to have you here on this IIU stage. Before a few days, you have an amazing speech, amazing training session. Now, what to say about this topic? Who was listening carefully? You today with this SD4 with the nutshell, you explain each one target. You explain each one target, all the principles. What is the meaning of education as a fundamental human right? Education like a public good, gender equality, and all outcome targets one by one. And each one of these targets had you gave your your experience from education, and what is the meaning of the implementation, what it means, effective learning environments, what are the scholarships, and what is the means of the implementation when we're talking about the teachers and the educators. So, Dr. Sowick, thank you very much for this. And
Welcome,
I
ma'am.
hope that we will soon have another event. As we said, we will now soon prepare in the research center a few days of, we will have some kind of training sessions, workshops, maybe some kind of talk show, storytelling. So we have a lot of ideas, and our great Dr. Sowick, Dr. Sukamar, they are all also part of the IIU Research Center. Also, you can also join us and be with us because you see, we have an amazing educators. Thank you. Now, from India, we are going to Zimbabwe. Professor Patricia. Professor Patricia, do you hear me?
Hello, yes.
Oh,
I can hear
great.
you.
We have an amazing educator from Zimbabwe, very close to me, my dear friend. So in IIU, very active. Dr. Patricia, welcome. The IIU stage is yours, and please enlighten us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nada. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all esteemed speakers and viewers from all over the globe. Let me take this opportunity to thank IIU for organizing this conference on SDG 4 and the moderator Nada. Thank you for giving us this time. Then I would like to...
Yeah, Nada is a moderator, but also a project leader of this 12 days. This is my 12 day. And I am a moderator, but in a, I'm like an educator here, and that is that.
Thank you for this noble cause. Yes, thank you so much. I would like to, we all know that education is a vehicle, is the vehicle of knowledge. And as we are talking about SDG 4, I thought that I could share with you about education for sustainable development. We all know that SDG 4 focuses on education and target, and 4.7 aims to make sure that people are given the knowledge and the skills to promote sustainable development. And education for sustainable development is that education that I would like to talk about that goes beyond the teaching knowledge and the skills to find a job, and where students need to really understand, and especially in this rapidly changing world they live in. And with education for sustainable development, its basic philosophy is mainly on knowledge. It is on values, attitude and value behaviors, maybe which also integrate environmental, economic, and social development. And these three, environment, economic, and social development, are the three pillars of sustainable development. Education for sustainable development is to educate students as global citizens for sustainable development. And as we are all talking about skill-based education, the skills are really necessary to shape a sustainable future, like what the former speaker talked about. He talked about lifelong learning. This is what we are talking about, skill-based education. And as he said, that it is self-initiated, it is self-education for personal and professional development. And also, he said lifelong learning is ongoing. As talking about maybe about UNESCO, UNESCO says education for sustainable development involves maybe integrating all those key sustainable development issues into teaching and learning. The key issues being into teaching, like the climate change, we are talking about disaster risk reduction, we are talking about biodiversity, we are talking about poverty reduction and sustainable consumption. If our children are able to master the knowledge of all these key issues that I'm talking about, they will help in the future, because here we are developing future leaders, or we are developing our future leaders today, for today and for tomorrow. So education for sustainable development promotes pupils at different competencies, like maybe critical thinking. It promotes problem solving, and thereby making decisions, especially collaboratively, like the other projects the former speaker was talking to us about. And it has no, it requires maybe for us educators who are in the education field, we are the players. It requires us to shift towards active participation and more experiential learning methods, rather than concentrating more on the bookish knowledge, but participatory methods of teaching where learners are more engaged, where learners own their own learning, and where they are given the room to explore and discover. We are moving all away from that teacher-centered method to a learner-centered method. And education for sustainable development has got 5 pedagogic elements, like the learner-centered orientation, action orientation, interactive orientation. And the teacher here is a facilitator rather than a knowledge provider, where our children are not just sitting and as passive learners, but we are engaging them in different projects where they can apply the critical thinking skills, problem solving skills. Think of critical reflection. We can include them in discussions, in journals. Right now, this month of September and October in our school, we are talking about clean up campaigns. So the children are involved in different projects that we are involving them, so that they can be able to understand by participating, not by reading a book. They are participating. Think of systematic thinking, where there is a gap, or maybe we are thinking of action research. Give children a project, then let them do what they want to do. Like we are talking about use of no plastic or single plastics. Involve the children so that they understand what we mean. We are trying to do projects on climate action. Involve them. Let them go to the rivers. Let them go and see. Let them go and discover themselves about pollution, water pollution. We are farming next to lands. There is a lot of land pollution, soil pollution taking place. Involve the children. Then we are thinking about thinking creatively, maybe for future scenarios whereby we are using role playing, or we are using real world inquiry. And I think last week we are talking about metaverse, where we are including our children in that type of education, which is motivating. They have the curiosity to come into the classroom, rather than the boring approach whereby we are using the traditional method. The teacher is standing in front, and then they are the receivers of knowledge. So let's include them in problem-based learning. Then number 5 on collaborative teaching, we're talking about work-based learning, whereby children are attached to industries, or where they go and learn and see the real people doing the job, We let them go there, they see, they observe. That is observation, their observation. So I talked about the 5 pedagogical elements: critical reflection, systematic thinking, participatory learning, thinking creatively, and then collaborative learning, whereby we are exposing them to a learner-centered approach, action-oriented approach. Then we want to look at some examples that we have been doing here in Zimbabwe. For example, like I was telling you about climate action that we are involving our children. This week, we know that our children, they are going to a dump site where people were throwing a dump, maybe waste there. So what they've decided to do now is to go there and do a research. There are already some people who are involved in that dump site. And that dump site, now they are going to learn how the dump site is being turned into a recreational park. That dump site is about 2 or 3 kilometers from my home, because we have been experiencing a lot of air pollution. You know, with people going there into the dump site looking for material, scavengers going to look for material, they burn, and then they smoke everywhere. There's air pollution. So they've come up with some ideas to turn that dump site into a modern recreational park. So our children are going there to learn this week about how it is being turned into a recreational park. They are also turning that dump site, they are converting it into energy, and then power is going to be established at that dump site. So that is what we are talking about, involving the children. Like what the learner said, lifelong learning. Think about that place now. Instead of it being a dump site, it's called Pomona dump site. Those who can research about it, it is going to create about more than 500 jobs. And besides that, it's going to be turned into a recreational park. Instead of our children, our youth, our teens are divulging maybe into drugs because they don't have anywhere to go. They can now go into that recreational park for recreational purposes, for leisure activities. It helps our children spending time there, staying away from drugs, from illegal activities. Scavengers who used to come and get garbage from that Pomona dam site, they had built illegal structures there. They've also been offered some chance to get employment. So you see, that's a dam site that has been turned into a park and energy. And also another example that I can give of you is of our state-owned Midland State University, which is in Gweru, whereby our students have turned that one into an industry hub. They are making different products, one of them being a juice, 100% juice. Now they are able to employ even their mothers and fathers who didn't have employment. So it is very, very important that we promote in our schools education for sustainable development. We can also say that it is innovative education where we are involving our children into so that they can be self-employed, lifelong learning. Even if they leave this university, wherever they go, they can go with ideas, not only just to maybe to create jobs themselves, for themselves. Then our children also have come up with a competition called the Hackathon Drive, or it is a challenge or a bid to encourage maybe innovation. And in this challenge, anyone who has an ideas that make use of ICT, they promote the use of ICT to improve social and economic standing of the country. So our children also are being involved in that project. And it has got 3 dimensions of sustainable development. Like I told you, we are trying as a country with 191% inflation. That is my country. Then another move that has been taken towards education for social development concerns about 240 educators from 100 schools, and these have been benefiting from a training program that is aimed at equipping them with business knowledge and skills, which they will in turn, when they go back to their schools, impart to learners in their schools and then across the country. And this program that I'm talking about is the brainchild of Imaging Africa. So I am talking here about education for sustainable development, whereby we are involving our children, maybe in innovative ideas, whereby they can also create employment, even when they are employed in schools. So this is what I wanted to share with you today, Dr. Nada. I can't hear you. Dr. Nada, you are muted.
Yes, I'm here. But I look on the Facebook, so it blocked me, so that I couldn't click on this. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Great, our great Dr. Patricia. Always pleasure to listen you. Great speeches, great presentations, and we are really honored to have you, especially when we know that we have a lot of problems with electricity, with the connections today. Like our great Professor Miha sent me a message: no electricity, no connections. So you see what position are our amazing educators. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now, from Zimbabwe, we are going to Pakistan. We are going to Pakistan. Please, yeah, we have an amazing educator. Also, he's a scholarship, research scholarship, very active, learning each one day, learning. So welcome, great Yamal Pirzada. The IIU stage is yours. Let's hear you today on this first day of the SDG 4 quality education. As I said, we will have quality education 3 days in 3 parts. Welcome. Yamal.
Hello. Hi. Hello. Hello. I am audible?
Yes, you are. Yes,
Yes. Hello. Hi. Good evening. Good night. And really magnificent event right now. It's happening. We all are connected because of the education. We are living different part of the world, like Zimbabwe, South Africa, United Arab Emirates, Philippines, and the Uzbekistan, Bangladesh, and now I am Pakistan and India. We all are connected because of the education. So education always play a vital role to connect the humanity. The humanity is greater than anything. So right now we are connected. Why? Because of the education. And we know that the education always play a key role to realize that we are the social animals, or you can say the human beings. So today it's a wonderful day, and I really enjoyed and listening different speakers. Today I want to share that why education is important for us, and it is very important. So we must know that why it is important. So we all are aware how technology changing the face of education. Not only has the mode of receiving education changed, but the method of teaching students have also evolved. Earlier education was more of monologue, or you can say the one-way teaching. But nowadays, teacher encourage students maintain two-way flow of the information in the classrooms. Yes, it is very important to understand the different ideas and different opinions. And then the United States of United Nations also identified that the multitude of problems at the global level that if not addressed and lead to serious problems. To tackle such issues, the need for the leaders and experienced professionals who are adept in the respective fields has grown. To encourage leadership and power of influence among the students, it has become an imperative employ of refined way to teaching practices. In the age of technology, information can access from anywhere in the world. Even though providing a quality education demands great efforts, shape of personality of the student with evidence of new technologies, a student is just click away from required resources. While sitting hundreds of miles away from an educational institute, the students can take only online classes from the institution, avail benefit of online career counseling, and access the great volume of resources from free online libraries. It is also the evolution of education. And now, I want to discuss about the quality of education, which is very debatable issue and hot topic. Whatever the progress of our society has made over the century is because of education. Being the foundation stone of the society, education brings reforms, help in progress, and paves off for innovation. The importance of quality education cannot be undermined in a society which is why great personalities and extensively written on its need in civilized society. It is because of education that humans have been able to explore the vastness of the universe, and mystery of the existence and cognitive dimension and dissonance. We know the laser guided surgical procedures and millions of more would not exist if education were not there to unleash our potential. In the 21st century, some countries are lagging in the race for quality education. So the best education system, the world, it is also a big issue. And what is the best model in the world? So in the modern education, what is modern education and why we need a modern education? First of all, understanding the quality of education. The definition from UNO and the Educational Institute of Belgium organization define the quality of education as one of the focuses on social, emotional, mental, physical, and cognitive development of each student, regardless of gender, race, ethnic, socio-economic status of geographic location. It prepares the child for life and not just for testing. In 2012, the United States also realized and first time included the quality education is need of our world or the need of our modern era. In the sustainable development goals, and the 17 sustainable goals also complete with the quality education. Further, the education in modern times is highly influenced and dependent on the information of communication technology. We know that the communication technology play a huge role and huge impact on modern era, especially after the post-COVID, which has paved that the way of the student to attend the school or high level of education. Quality education not only prepares a student for a job, but also develop the overall personality of an individual. So we know that the each and every person recognized because of the education level, and the education also open our third eye, which always reflect our personality and give us a positive era or positive energy. In the case of children, it aims at their complete upbringing where morals and ethics are taught as part of the curriculum to help them live healthy lifestyle. So the United Nations on Quality Education understand the supremacy of education for brighter and prosperous future is therefore of the senses that the quality education and not merely education should be reality for all. In its sustainable development goals, the United Nations has identified quality education as a major goal to ensure the transformation of the world. Yes, we know that without education, we can't transform our personality, our society, our nation. So it is a highly demanded issue. By 2013, the United Nations set the target, and then the quality education, according to United Nations, is implies equitable and standard education for all that will promote lifelong learning and the urge to gather the knowledge. Inclusively,
My dear Yamal, can I stop you a little? So,
yes,
as our last speaker today, I want to
yes.
ask you for a few questions.
One thing I want to ask to all our educationalists and speakers and
Okay, yes,
professionals
yes,
and
ask.
academicians.
Yes, you
Yes.
can ask.
So
Yes.
yes, one thing I must say that we all know about the importance of education. We are aware about the importance of education. It is time to practical these things and implement these things in effective and efficient way. We all know about that the education can change all things in a short span of time, but we should take a serious step toward a quality education without any discrimination, without any gender biasness, without any favoritism, or you can say that it is very important for our the life of the living beings and humanity. So it's all about the education, and education give always connect us, and we are connected right now because of the education. Without education, we can't connect from the different part of the country and nation. Thank you all of you, and I hope that you all are fine, and we
No,
should
no, you will
promote our
not. You will
education.
not go nowhere because I will ask you few questions. So, tell us what are you doing like a individual to improve the education? What you are doing?
Yes. Yes, in my side, in my part of that particular question. So I right now I am working as a director of HR, and I deal with HR things. But I at the same time I'm teaching of business administration and public administration department. So right now I am thinking about that the curriculum based teaching is not now is totally irrelevant, because with the passage of time each and everything is changing. And right now I am starting my career as a blogger, and I try to convince my student to give me a practical response, and they also very enthusiastic because they want to do something, and I give them a platform to showcase your talent with uh, with my organization or with my platform. So right now I am thinking about the free education system for those capable students who are underrated or who are neglected because of the poverty. So right now I am
Great.
considered that these people are very important.
Yes, we are really proud on you. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being giving
Yes.
your solutions, your answers for the quality education. I can say now, here is our great Professor Charles. Professor Charles, thank you for joining. Professor Charles will be tomorrow, our great speaker. What to say? An amazing day. Yes, first day, first part one of SDG for equality education. We start with great students. I want to thank our great students because they're coming from the Philippines. They're coming from the St. Patrick's School. Dr. Derry, you need to be proud on your students. Great principal, you are doing great with your school and with your students. We get today, I said we build a diagram, a figure, what educators need to do today. All our speakers today were amazing. Dr. Sutkakar, Dr. Sovik, our great China from United Arabian Emirates, our great Patricia. We have here you, Yamal, and we have today Feroz from the Uzbekistan. We need to have Professor Mia. Tomorrow she will join us. I said before, why not? And our great Job Lazarus will also join us tomorrow. So tomorrow, us is again expecting a great day. So thank you all. Thanks to our great founder. Thanks to our great founder, because without him, we will not have this big conference. So till tomorrow, still stay safe.
And
We
Dr. Nora, one thing I want to say. One thing I want to say.
what? What you want to say?
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hear you.
Before ending and closing, I must say that I am really thankful to Sir Piyush Pandit, who gave us a chance to connect, and I really thankful to you especially to host that particular event. And I really thankful to all the IIU members who gave the chance to connect the people and share the knowledge on that particular platform. I really admire by your efforts, by your unconditional commitment. Thank you. Thank you all.
Also, we have here an amazing educators with us on the Zoom, still on the Facebook. Thank you, great Dr. Saved, to be with us all these days to encourage our students, our speakers. You are amazing. We are watching you. As our Yamal said, yes, thanks to our sir, our founders, Piyush Pandit, for giving us this opportunity, because IIU is a change. IIU is bringing the change. In IIU is a revolution, and you see, is bringing a revolution in education, and each one student have an opportunity to have an education, and also we will soon be with that free education. And today, all these days are free to watch. You can join our subscribe on our official page. Please write your reviews. Give us your solution, because maybe you have an idea that we need to do something more or improve something. But I think that I already said 1,000+ educators, 1,000+ courses, each day different kind of events. Today, before this conference, we had a great talk show. Our great Ermina had a talk show with Dr. Ravindo. So you see, we have a different events, and we are always coming with something new, because our great founder, he is working 24 hours through the day, and each 1 second we have something new. So, Professor Charles, do you want to say something? Tomorrow you are a speaker. We are honored that you are here with us. Thank you for your support. Our great Professor Charles, the head, Africa head of IIU, is here with us. So, Professor Charles, if you want to say a few words at the end today, tomorrow you are our guest speaker.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. We are preparing for your birthday. I know the next 3 or 4 hours now, you will be celebrating your birthday. We are going to wish you happy birthday. You are a good
Wow.
person.
Yes, tomorrow, Professor Charles, you will celebrate with me on IIU stage tomorrow.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Happy birthday in advance. May God come to strengthen you with wisdom. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Till tomorrow.
Every one of us. Thank you.
Till tomorrow. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you all. Join us, because tomorrow we have amazing educators and amazing students also. So be with us tomorrow. Bye to all.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Bye. Bye-bye.